What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Consensus, a show where we talk about games while playing games and interacting with you, the gamers. I am your host, Game of Jobs, and with me tonight, first and foremost, is my good friend and league mate, Hoodius. Hoodius, what's up, man? How you been? And what have you been playing?
I've been going pretty good. Actually, just pretty much been racing. Oh my god, who the hell just wrecked me? Alright, I'm done racing.
It's all over now.
No, I was gonna say, mainly NASCAR is the main game at the moment. I was doing some Smite. Kinda got tired of that crowd and trying to turn right in Formula 1. That's kind of going.
Yeah, you just started in the PRL Formula 1 League, which, you know, of course everybody in the chat tonight runs in the PRL NASCAR League, but there's also the Project Cars League, which I participate in, and you just started in the Formula 1 League. How's that been going?
Aaron's a tryhard, and other than that, it's been going pretty good.
Yeah, if you don't if you don't know, Aaron is the guy who runs the PRL Formula 1 and NASCAR League, and also might be joining us if he gets here before. Yeah, see, he says I got 20 minutes more travel time and have to poop, so he's at least 45 minutes out.
Minutes away. I beat you to it. Yes, old guy humor.
There you go.
We got this.
So also joining us,
Yeah,
you like him green walls, man. Also joining us, as you just heard, is Wardude. Wardude, what's up? The NASCAR PRL points leader here. What's up, man? What have you been playing?
right now I'm really stuck on NASCAR right now, I'll tell you that, just because this league. PRL is a great league. Other than that, it's just NHL and Madden, that's it. I mainly stick to sports games.
Yeah, I've seen that NHL. I mean, people love the NHL games, period, but, you know, I've heard that that's a pretty solid version of it.
It is a great game. I just noticed with the camera, I've been playing that game for about 6 years, I just noticed that you can raise the camera all the way up. You can see the entire rank. It's amazing. the things that when I was 14 years old, I would have found out in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it would have been nice, right?
Now it takes a couple years.
But finally, last but not least, joining us right now, my good friend and teammate on Forward Bite Racing, K-Dog is with us as well. K-Dog, what's up? I know what you're playing right at the moment, since you're not in the race with us. But let everybody know what your game of choice has been here recently.
Well, I've most notably been known for Grand Theft Auto Racing, and the last year I've been getting out of it and got introduced to the NASCAR game and been liking it, joined the league, it's been awesome. And other than NASCAR, I've been playing Battlefield 1 and a few other games. But
now, when you
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Now, when you played Battlefield 1, did you actually get into like the or have you just been sticking to multiplayer?
At the beginning of the game, I got into the campaign, but then once I started playing more and more of multiplayer, I got hooked on multiplayer and haven't been back to the campaign yet. I've had much fun.
That's usually about how it goes.
Yeah, basically. I've been thinking about actually picking it up for the campaign. I've been listening to this this history podcast, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, and it is fantastic. And he's been doing World War I, or at least I've been going back through the archives where he did like a 6-part. Like each episode is 3 hours long on World War I, and it is fantastic. So now I'm all about it.
The campaign in Battlefield 1 it's really unique and it's really nice.
I heard it was historically accurate too, which is nice.
Yeah.
You get some of those stories that come out of it, but we're not here to talk about Battlefield 1. Yeah, I'm gonna have to actually. Yeah,
we have the game. I've never played campaign. That sounds interesting. I didn't realize it was like that. That's awesome.
But like I said, we're not here to talk about Battlefield 1. We are here to talk about actually a larger topic in general. As you know, we're all members of the PRL NASCAR Heat Evolution League. We race every Friday night and compete against each other. You know, some of us take it serious. Some of us like to have a little bit of fun with it. But that's kind of the way it goes for racing games in general. And what we want to talk about tonight is the sim racing community and how it pertains to console racing, period, because we are all console people. I'm sure some of us play some PC games. I do not, for sure. But, you know, there's a little bit of a stigma when it comes to racing games on console. And, you know, obviously the giant that is iRacing kind of hangs over all racing games in general these days. And it's kind of interesting to talk about, you know, what we do on Friday nights with people that do iRacing in a serious manner, or, you know, play racing simulations as well, because, you know, it's interesting because sometimes, you know, it's good for a laugh. Sometimes you're kind of looked down upon, and there's a little bit of a stigma there when it comes to that. But we're going to kind of dive into that topic and talk about it here for a little bit before we actually get to our league race tonight. And how about we start out with just talking about sim racing and what is appealing about it to you. I know, K-Dog, you said that you kind of got into the NASCAR game, and you are attracted to the league. You're having a lot of fun with it. But what made you want to join the league in the first place? Why would you take something that is fun and try to make it a competitive option for you?
To try and test my skills on another game that I haven't proven myself on yet. I've been playing GTA for 3 years, and I've been known for over there, but I wanted to branch myself out to a different game and try and get my name out also in the NASCAR game. And I used to play a lot of NASCAR games in the EA era, and I tried the first year of the Ethrex one, and I did not like their damage system, and so I didn't play it for the next few years. And then I saw they were making this game, and it was a new company. I'm like, okay, I'll give this company a shot. A couple other friends were gonna get it also, and since then I've been the only one that's kept on playing it, and they've died off and went to play other games on PC games.
Right, and you're not all that. I mean, you're fairly familiar with playing games competitively as well, because you know, when you're talking Grand Theft Auto racing, you were fairly competitive in that, right?
Oh yeah, I used to join racing events, and I used to host racing events also, and they were big successes, and we would always have, since the lobby can only hold 30 people, but their servers are kind of bad for Rockstar, we can only get like 21 to 24 people in, and so we would have people sign up, and we would have like 50 to 60 people. And so this last year we had to, for one of our events, make a secondary championship for the people who didn't make it into the main one. And wow. Yeah, that's how many people we had, and they were like, well, can't we just make an alternate also and race the same schedule and same amount of laps? And like, I can talk it over with my other co-host, and we decided to make the league even better and bigger. But as per a championship, sometimes long championships, people start to die out and not show up every week, and halfway through we had to call it because people weren't showing up.
it's kind of funny that we do that. You know, I think the majority of us play video games for fun. You know, like that's the whole point. That's the way it's always been. But at the same time, it's that old arcade type competition in video games as well. It's not enough just to play it for fun sometimes. Sometimes you got to be you have to be recognized as the best, or you have to, you know, like snub it in people's faces. You know, it's that old arcade chasing the high score. But like, is that, am I off base there, Hoodius? I mean, that's, you know, us old school guys. That's kind of, you know, that's got to be it, right?
That's definitely it, because especially for someone like me, that's a two-way system. Growing up, like 4 years old, I've been on bowling leagues. So in the bowling league, I always compared myself against scores. And like any bowling alley back in the day, you had an arcade. Boom, there's a secondary high score you got to get.
I need an invite right away. Right.
You dropped out of your own lobby.
I did.
Good job,
I had the disconnect, lost connection. I always get that.
Sure. I need to find out who wrecked me in that opening turn, by the way, and beat the hell out of him.
But yeah, I mean, it's us old boys, you know. I think trophies is one of the things, you know, that people still use to compete. You still have leaderboards in specific games, but at the same time, you know, it's all about making sure that you can compete and show that you're better than the rest as well. Now, War Dude, how familiar are you with the other NASCAR games that we've had in the past? I mean, you know, K-Dog was talking about it, how we went from EA to, what is it, U-Technics, and now to DMR. Is that like, are you familiar with those games, and is that something, is it possible that this current game, even with all of its problems, still lends itself to this more competitive aspect?
I mean, first of all, I've been playing the NASCAR games for as long as I can remember. I remember my father getting these NASCAR games on the PC, and that's the only time I've ever played it on there. You got NASCAR.
The old Papyrus games.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I had to have been 8 to 10 years old when I was playing those, and maybe a little older, maybe 12, 13. Playing those games, just sitting up all night on the keyboard, turning left and right, and I was having a blast. You cannot, to me, I cannot get a NASCAR. I could get a NASCAR game and keep myself interested for a while, but you have to join a league in order to keep yourself going. And as far as this game goes, I feel like this game could be at top. If you give this game one more year, it could be the top of the line out of all of them.
Right. Yeah,
I think they could do it. They just have to put the work in. They need the time as well and the resources and whatnot. But there's definitely improvement, but it's not bad so far.
Back in the day, man, the Papyrus games and everything else that we had, it was so cool. Of course, you know, when I started racing on PC, it was before I could drive a car. You know, I was not even, you know, didn't have my driver's license, just a little guy, and the ability to actually have a steering wheel in front of you, racing the car on the track. And what I thought was the coolest part was, you know, you could even control it under yellow or you know, in the pits and things like that. It was just,
right.
You know, it wasn't force-fed to you. You were controlling it, and that was something that really drew me to it in the first place.
Heck, I remember I was talking to Hoodius about this a couple weeks ago. The most time I spent on the game was my custom car, painting that thing.
Right.
I got a funny story about that.
Uh-oh.
So the original Papyrus. Oh my God! What the hell is this?
Holy crap!
The entire field just got wiped out.
I took
Wow.
the 78 off the car.
There's a wreck in turn.
Jesus. Yeah, we're a pro league.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say. I remember. God. Yeah, I want to say I was 9 or 10 years old when that first Papyrus game came out. I bought it when before it was even on CD. It was on 4 floppy disks. And I had this rinky-dink little computer, but I was young. I had no idea, so I buy the disc. The only thing on that game that worked, because I had such little memory on that computer, was the paint shop. So for the first 2 months, all I did was just paint my car over and over again before my dad bought a computer that could actually play it.
Yeah, that it's funny to think back to all the things I used to do on there because with the PC, of course, you can mod everything, just depending on your skill level, and that's what I used to do. I'd make my cars, like when my father would race, I would have his paint schemes in the game, and then I'd make tracks and other things.
I would do the same exact thing.
I can barely edit a Microsoft Word document now. I mean, it's like. The amount that I've lost, I would be better off handing it off to my 5-year-old or 2-year-old for something like that. But it's interesting that's how it started. And now, to me, I think K-Dog is quite a bit younger than we are, but it's this is definitely a hobby, and with like any hobby for guys with wives or girlfriends or jobs, kids, it's got to fit in a specific time schedule. And, when my thing, there's plenty of online games that are fun to play. One of my favorites is Call of Duty. I mean, when you're talking about a shooter, there's nothing better there's nothing that feels better first-person shooter-wise than Call of Duty. But the main reason to play it is to play online multiplayer and rank up and, prestige and get your guns up and everything. But there's actually no point other than the ranking up. It's kind of silly that you're just entering games that are meaningless over and over and over again and spending all that time on something that in the end amounts to very little. And I think that's something that League Racing offers, because you could get together with a group of guys that like, respect, and have a competition with them on a weekly basis, and at the end, it feels like it means something.
And I think that's especially, too, with something like racing games. Take, for instance, like in my past, I played MOBAs a lot. Like, I originally got on it when Dota was a Warcraft 3 map. So, I mean, they have a league aspect of it where you can get a team, but something like that, there is a lot of luck involved, team composition, stuff like that, to where racing, like you said, you can get in with a bunch of your friends, you're having a good time. Ultimately, it comes down to your setup, and just, mano a mano. And you get a little bit more a level of satisfaction than you would just getting a prestige in a Call of Duty or something like that.
Right.
Because those are more just time investments, where there is the time investment aspect, but I just feel you get that bigger sense of satisfaction in the end.
And that's...
Especially when it's a set schedule, they have the race, they have the league. I mean, yeah, I'll sit down Monday morning, I'll be like, come on Friday, especially this week for Dega.
Right.
Yeah. Well, maybe not with Dega, but yeah.
I'm so terrified for Dega.
See how it goes.
It's going to be, oh my gosh.
I'm definitely terrified, but excited.
I'll be excited. I was about to say, I'll be excited if I get a top 2 qualifying spot and I'm in, and then I can enjoy the rest of the night.
Other than that, it's just biting your nails the whole time.
Yeah, match to go.
I'll tell
What's
you
up,
what it is. Joe's can say the same thing, man. If those going in the heats as the 1-2 qualifying spot and just kind of hanging from the back, those are pretty entertaining to watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
I
are.
don't know, Joe's. I don't know if you were sitting in the back or if you were racing with them. I was just kind of hanging in the back and watching everything unfold.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did in the heats last week, and it was a lot of fun. Of course, in the last chance, I tried to sit in a cinematic spot, and it kicked me from the surfer, so that didn't work out too well. But speaking of our league, which everybody's going to see tonight, and anybody in the chat right now, if you want to get in on the discussion, feel free, because we're kind of free shooting this, and we want to know your thoughts as well. But our league is a startup league, especially for this startup game. This is DMR's first game, and it's got plenty of flaws, and there's some things that we have to do above and beyond to make a league work. But at the same time, getting it right is a lot of fun. And it took a little bit of time for us to get it right. In fact, last week was the first time that we ran the new format with default setups and various things. And I think we're all in agreement that has made things a lot better. It's more exciting to watch because you've got heat races and last chance races like you get at your local short tracks. And the biggest thing that helped our league out, because what we struggled with, we had a lot of yellows, which didn't make for much racing at all. And switching from custom setups where people were sometimes pushing the envelope of stability to default setups where, you know, things are pretty tight and stable has brought the field closer together. It's made it more competitive. It's brought strategy into the fold and kept people from, you know, getting, you know, out of control and causing issues as well. But that's, you know, it's taken time to get there. And, you know, it's kind of interesting that at some points we've all been kind of pulling our hair out trying to figure out the right mix because of the various factors at play that make it hard on us, you know?
Oh, definitely. But like you said too, I mean, that's, I feel kind of you're going to go through that with any game when you're just first starting out like we were. And actually, to add to that, we were talking about the issue with custom setups and people pushing the limits. That right there is another example of the scoreboard mentality. You know, people see laps out there that are way better than what they were originally doing, so, you know, pushing to the limit is a nice way to put it.
Yeah,
but also, too, there's... Oh, go ahead.
Yep. I was just saying, you know, we have... It's kind of strange because we have our own group chat with everybody in the league, you know, and I don't think that's a typical thing for many racing leagues to do, because if you're gonna take competition seriously, you don't really want to be sitting there listening to your opponents and, you know, finding out what their lap times are running and things like that. So when you see that, if you see somebody running a quicker lap time than you, you're like, God, I gotta get up there and I gotta find more time. You know, I mean,
at that point you're just practicing too much. You're just making the setups run one really good lap, and then when you can't handle your car when there's a car right up ahead of you or right below you, it makes a world of difference, and it means nothing to have that fast lap.
Which I felt like also kind of gave a different kind of strategy to our league at that time when we were running setups too, because at that time, like, I enjoy everybody we race with, but I never ran practice races during the week because I wanted my time hidden pretty much.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I was strictly practicing with the AI. But what I think also too benefited us, you know, why we're so high in the point standings is that practice with the AI, we're practicing long runs. We're not trying to hit that qualifying lap.
Right. And that was the thing. I think the switch, at least for me, and K-Dog, I don't know about you, but I mean, like, for me, it made it a lot more fun because, you know, I was sinking a lot of time into the setups, and when it came to Friday, if there were a lot of crashes or yellow flags and things like this, some sort of misfortune that came my way, in my head, I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, I have sunk 6 hours into a custom setup, ran the fastest lap of the race, and, you know, I'm like way in the back here. So it was tough for me, but the fact that now everybody's on a level playing field and you don't have to sink as much time in, I mean, for me, it's made it more fun. What about you?
I think it has also, and it's kind of simmered down the competitiveness a little bit, but it's still there. But whatever you do in the pits is up to you, and that's what still gives some people an advantage if you know which way to go and how to set your car up from the default setup, whereas the setup wise you had to constantly tweak and adjust things and turn road here and turn tire pressure up and down with a setup, whereas in this default setup you don't have to because the cars are pretty much all the same, and it has made it a lot more fun.
I would say yes. I mean, it definitely made it more fun because we are seeing a lot closer, tighter knit racing, a lot more green flags because people aren't pushing themselves to the limit. But ultimately, too, for anybody, like, you know, we all take this seriously. We were putting in times for the setups. I feel like we still would have that advantage because, like, now, for instance, instead of spending 3 hours on a sped up, I'm spending 3 hours on default learning the best line, and then maybe 2 hours finding the tire pressure, finding the wedge, finding
And that's
Yeah.
that's no cakewalk. You still have to mess around with that for a little bit.
Yeah. It was really interesting, and it's kind of funny because my phone is blowing up right now because in our group chat for the NASCAR League, of course, everybody's practicing with each other to get ready for tonight's big race. But in our group chat, there are two people bickering at each other because they wrecked each other in one of the practice races, and it is already firing up. And it's kind of funny that you get that amount of seriousness, and yeah, it's why sometimes that group message to me is like, oh my gosh, I'm just like face palming because you just it's funny that some of the stuff that we get there. But one thing that's also I think a factor in all of that, and we were talking about PC versus console. Our league has a large number of young guys in it. I mean, I don't want to say kids, but you're talking guys that are, as young as 13 years old, 13, 14 years old racing in this league. And that's not a typical thing that you see on PC and serious racing sims and things like that. But here we are on console, which is traditionally a younger demographic, and that creates all new problems for leagues like this.
That's not something that young guys can't race. They just have a lot to learn.
Right, and that goes back to like us. We've been doing racing games for 20 plus. We've been racing on games longer than most kids in this league have been, or not kids. Most people in this league have been born.
Yeah.
I call them kids because technically I'm old enough. Most of this league can get off my lawn. So, I mean, I have a daughter almost as old as one of the people in our league. But, you are going to get that demographics with consoles, but then it just comes down to really that, I wouldn't say skill level, more than just experience level. And I come from a PC background too. I did Warcraft competitively in the vanilla days with rating and whatnot. I spent way too many hours of my life in that. But I would say, PC, I wouldn't necessarily say it's an older crowd. It's just a more dedicated, if you will, stubborn, I would call them myself. But you definitely get that more than the, I would say casual consoles. But then even the casuals comes with the quotation marks, because most of us are older. I have 2 kids, a third on the way. I can't throw $2,000 into a computer rig anymore.
Right.
So, a PlayStation 4.
But at the same time, if we were to talk to a group of guys on iRacing, dude, they're just gonna laugh at us. They're gonna talk about how cute we are racing our NASCAR and our project cars and stuff like that,
Right. See, I'm not too familiar with project cars and all that, but I get what you're saying.
It's a little funny.
Gaming either.
Oh!
You never like to hear that, I'm Joe's.
There we are.
Actually, I like to hear it since it's in my rearview mirror. Keep going. Keep it going.
Yeah,
I don't know why in the beginning of this race I tried to drop back and draft, but I should have stayed up there.
K-Dog got in the apron, and then we had a wild one, it's funny to me because there's no denying. I think everybody knows that if you are talking about sim racing, there's one king, and that's iRacing.
Yeah.
And iRacing is 100% available on PC. There is no console option, which I think is something that probably should eventually be fixed. But that is the undisputed king. And Aaron just joined up. We'll get to talk to him about some more league stuff here in a second. But Aaron, we're actually talking about the undisputed king of sim racing, which is iRacing. And as you know, there's many accounts of real race car drivers who hop in the real cars and then get on the simulations and talk about how iRacing fairly accurately simulates what you're doing in the real car. And these guys are paying subscriptions and everything else, and it becomes a point of contention for anybody else who plays anything else. You know, if you're not on iRacing, you're not serious.
You know, we're talking about this, though, and the thing that jumps in my head, and this goes back to the whole PC versus console argument anyway,
right.
is if when the original Modern Warfare came out for Call of Duty, it was being bashed heavily because people were playing Quake 2 still on PCs, and if you wanted a shooter, that's what you played. You didn't play that weak-ass Call of Duty,
right.
You know?
Now
so I
everyone's
just
playing
feel
that Modern Warfare Remastered. Everyone's jumping on that now.
Everybody's playing Modern Warfare Destiny Edition in space.
Yeah, and it's always been that way. It's the PC master race type thing, but it's in sim racing it is very serious. It's, you know, to the point to where, you know, and they'll tell you, the PC guys will tell you that when it comes to console racing games, they're all arcade. You know, they're all set up for younger children and things like that. But one thing that I find interesting, and it's interesting for all console games in general, is the rise of esports. Esports is, you know, definitely on the main stage for, you know, sports in general now. You know, Twitch makes it plainly apparent. You know, I guess if you're talking sports, you've got to talk about ESPN, and ESPN takes esports serious, even though there's not, you know, big broadcasting money in it. But the esports movement has been a huge thing for gaming and will continue to be in the future. And what's funny is that, you know, iRacing, the undisputed simulation champion, the thing that the actual race car drivers use to help prepare them for their races, is not making a huge splash on the esports scene. In fact, the only thing that is really has any, you know, tournament money value type thing to it is the actual racing series that iRacing puts on themselves. Whereas for consoles, you're seeing, you know, ESL tournaments that I compete in for Project Cars. I mean, they're paying out money every Sunday. You've got actual professional teams with lineups of drivers, and I wonder what you guys think about the rise of esports, and if it's possible that this can kind of make console gaming and console racing as important, or, you know, can close that gap with the PC sims.
I'd say the potential is there. It's kind of hard. I mean, like you were saying with Project Cars, I would think a game of that stature probably has the best chance to kind of help eliminate that stigma and really propel to the esports level for consoles and raise it. I don't think NASCAR, and DMR is doing a good job. Like I said, this is their first starter game. I loved Monster when they made Dirt to Daytona. I have real high hopes for these guys. I just don't think something like NASCAR or Formula One, which Codemaster did a great job on that one. I just think you're looking at a fan base too small and too niche of a crowd for that to be able to propel. You would need something like Project Cars to kind of hit that sweet spot. But the potential is there. I mean, if you would have told me, just like the whole esports thing, if you would have told me Dota 2 was going to be on ESPN at one point, I would have laughed in your face, because that's the game I play with a little dwarf sniper and get made fun of for it.
Right.
And now they pay out $20 million every year. So.
And it's crazy. And of course, consoles, I mean, they are so easily accessible, and everybody's playing the same version of the game, and it lends itself to that competitive nature. You know, Halo is a big thing. Call of Duty has its World League and other things like that. So it's interesting to see that. Of course, there's still the PC giants. You know, you got your CS:GO and things like that. But it seems like, as far as the racing games go, the console seemingly has caught on a little more with the esports crowd, because it is more accessible, and, you know, it's not as much of a simulation. It's accessible to a wider audience, a more wide range of age groups and things like that. And that's really, War Dude, that's basically the point of consoles in general.
For our generation, yeah. But I would, like you were saying, moving forward, Jobs, I mean, esports moving forward, it is this younger crowd. I mean, that's what is going to happen. I think, like, right now, with PC still dominating, it's kind of, I wouldn't say the dying breed, but it is kind of, I feel like maybe is the last of our generation before the consoles really kind of dominate. Because you are just getting...
does grow.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say,
the more the younger crowd you're going to see.
Right.
They're going to look at that and they're going to say, wow, I can play video games on TV and this and that, and they're going to jump into it.
Because it's already happening now. Look at Twitch.
Right. And
that I find is the craziest thing. I'm sorry, Jobs.
It's really interesting too, because it's so simple. The Project Cars, they've had tournaments on consoles for forever, but it was just recently with PlayStation and Sony bringing up the events thing. I mean, it's right on your main dashboard when you fire up the PS4. They've got an actual app that has the events right there. And these, ESL, MLG, these organizations and games that put on these tournaments can literally link to that events page, and people can sign up for tournaments and participate from their home just that easily. And that just brings up so many possibilities for the future.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm just going to win this race.
He's odious is in his zone now.
I've been trying to get Jobs up here for a while.
Is it Nick up there now? Nick's got to spin you out.
Yeah, Nick's right on my ass.
Oop, oop.
Oh, you're running the B group. Good job, Aaron.
B group.
Yeah. Scrub lobby.
Action says he doesn't think PC is dying. He thinks it's very game dependent, and that seems how it is. That seems how it is right now, because you have your League of Legends and
right.
Dota and your CS:GO, which actually dominate the viewership on Twitch. There are no games that rival their viewership numbers on Twitch, but then you've got your console games like your Halo and your Call of Duty and the other things that you get the tournaments. Rocket League coming on strong. I mean, these are becoming more and more popular as well, and obviously, with the consoles able to stream themselves like we're doing right now, it just seems like that's going to grow. Hey, Fresh MLG, no man, this is not my full-time job. We're actually just having a little bit of fun here before we start our NASCAR league race. Yeah, I'd be.
My wife
toast.
is ready to kick me off for this one podcast.
She used to hate my podcasting. Of course, I had my my Akai mixer and my studio audio microphones and everything, and I'd set it up. And I mean, we actually used to do shows at local. It was called the Firehouse Barbecue. They would have blues, and you serve your barbecue all day long. And we would get the stage on Wednesday nights, and we would do racing shows there, and people would come and watch, and it was totally ridiculous. And eat barbecue free, by the way, which was great.
They were all there for the barbecue.
But the podcasting was it just took so much time, and the editing and all the stuff, to make it sound professional, which I taught myself how to do it, and I took a lot of pride in making it sound great. So it really wore me out. I'm so excited to be able to do this on Twitch because it's easy. We can sit here and race on Party Chat and do this, and then all I've got to do is clip it to the YouTube and go from there. Fresh, the race actually is going to start at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got about 45 minutes before we start qualifying, and then we will get heat races will get set from qualifying, and then you'll have a last chance race and the feature as well. So there's a lot of fun yet to come tonight. But actually, Aaron, before we kind of wrap things up, you know, we were talking about the league, and you run 2 leagues with the PRL, the Precision Racing Leagues, and you know, we've the F1 manager, yeah. And we were just sitting here looking at our phones blowing up because people are bickering in the chats, and sometimes you can really be pulling your hair out trying to organize these things. And my question to you is, why in the hell do you do this?
I would also guess Aaron too. I was telling him earlier, like back in the vanilla days of WoW, I was in a hardcore raiding guild. I was the main tank. Even if you don't win, if you're the leader of something successful, like you still get that satisfaction there. You know, like I'm pretty sure like we all felt last week after Kansas. We're like, you know what? We found something that worked. That was nice.
20 to go.
Right.
How's the green light?
Hey, XLA. Yeah, XLA is saying that the iRacing Week 13 was so boring. I've been watching a lot of Air Messi, and that's a guy that I'll host on my channel every now and again. And there's he's been complaining about that as well. Of course, it's the off season for the iRacing guys, but there's always, you know, they set the schedules and things like that. So, you know, for guys like Aaron who can set up these leagues, you get to do your own thing, and you're not, you know, hemmed in to what some other entity is pushing on you every week too. So that's, you know, that's kind of an interesting thing. I just started league racing myself, and actually, I just got back into racing games. Period. I started playing Destiny when it launched, you know, 2.5 years ago, and I've played it so much. I mean, it's dominating my gaming time up until about a month ago when I finally deleted it from my console to put it down. And you know, I've started doing more racing. The NASCAR game come out, and I started streaming it on Twitch, and we've gained this, you know, small following, but a very cool following. A lot of good people have flocked here, and we've had a lot of fun and joined the league, and that got me into Project Cars again, where we started doing racing tournaments, and we started doing good. You know, I'm taking it very seriously and getting faster and trying to be a part of these things, and it's refreshing to me to be able to do this, which is something that I love, which I used to do in real life and have always participated in, but to be able to do it from my gaming chair in my house with my family around and everything else, where it's not dangerous and it's not something that takes up too much of your time and energy, is just a lot of fun. It's very cool. But I don't know, I mean, is that kind of the way you guys look at it as well? Because there's plenty of other hobbies that we could select. We can go out to the bar and have fun and drink and meet new people, or you can, like Hoodius goes bowling every Monday, and Aaron's out on the golf course as much as he can possibly be, but we all have so many responsibilities.
Aaron, he just called us old.
I'm old too, I believe
That's
me.
what I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard.
But I mean, is that kind of what makes you do this as your primary hobby? Like, what is it for all of you? I want to go all the way around the table. Like, what is it about gaming and racing games that just makes this your go-to?
All right, I'll kick it off. Well, for me, it's like we were talking earlier. Oh, good job.
Conversation with myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, shit. Sorry, I'm wrecking K-Dog and myself here, and I flipped at Texas. But no, I was saying, so I've always had a passion for racing games back in the day. This is actually the first time I've ran a league because life just happened to make it work. My wife's pregnant. She goes to bed at 8 o'clock, same time I tuck my daughters in. So guess what? 9 o'clock race? Perfect. Now I have the time at nights to spend an hour or two and invest in it. That's been the biggest thing for me, to be able to take that, because I've always been competitive and just in my own times and stuff like that, but to be able to take that next step and come after this league, like, life just kind of worked out, and I've had so much fun. I'm going to make sure it continues working. You may have a baby crying in the microphone come 3 weeks from now, but I'll still have fun.
Slow down.
See if you can main that top 3 position with a new baby on the way.
Wow, I did really good at getting in the pits there.
Oh, I was going to take you out.
I already did that.
I know, I wanted to, like, flip you into the crowd.
Oh, I missed the commitment cone, too. Look. I'm doing great. XLA says he's enjoying exercise as his hobby, which is another thing, which is probably a hell of a lot healthier than sitting in a chair, you know.
Too old. I did that shit 2 years ago at the gym. I'm done.
I used to love that as well, though. I was a soccer referee for a time, which obviously you got to stay very fit, and fitness was a lot of fun. But then, yeah, just like you guys say, you get old and things start breaking down. It's not as much fun, for sure.
Slow down.
It's gonna be rough tonight.
Again.
Really
Shocker,
rough.
Brian's lagging.
He was okay last week. I was impressed.
Did he buy his nuggets with that McDonald's internet? Because he's got to get his money's worth.
Okay, so let's.
Shit! I just realized we got a pit in this stupid Texas race.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So let's finish things off here. We'll go ahead. I want to do a poll question, and I want everybody in the chat. Let me know what you think as well. We're going to put everybody's ideas together. My poll question tonight is: with esports on the rise when it comes to consoles, can console sim racing ever surpass or equal or surpass the perceived importance of PC sim racing? Everybody in the chat, let me know what you think. Can consoles get up there with the sim racing crowd on PC? Is esports what's going to do it? Is it possible? What do you guys think? Right.
That's how I feel. It's going to take that one perfect game to push it over into that next level.
What is that perfect game?
And I'm not so sure it would be NASCAR, but I mean, NASCAR could follow along.
It's going to be Dirt to Daytona 2, Electric Boogaloo.
But what is that game? What is the game? I mean, you got a game like Gran Turismo, which is coming out in 2017, which is the biggest seller of them all. And you talk about iRacing. which is, the number one sim. Nobody disputes that. But you have iRacing, which is literally a gathering of thousands. It's not a huge install base. Whereas, these console games, in a game like Gran Turismo sells multi-millions, 5-10 million copies. Is Gran Turismo the game that, can start competing on the esports scene, and all of a sudden it becomes a huge thing?
Yeah, it would take a Gran Turismo or Forza or something like that to help, break down that barrier.
Right.
And from there on, who knows? Because I would say for NASCAR to make that jump, one, it's going to have to have that single player mode to get your even more casual audience in, to get more eyes on it. It's got to have something to make the game reviews go crazy about it and love it. And then really, too, the one big disappointment I had this game that they're going to need is customization of the cars.
Right.
Like, ultimately, too, that's going to draw in a lot more people.
They kind of need something like EA did back in the day, where you can start from the bottom in the wheeling modifieds.
Right, dirt tracks, all that.
Right. Well, even before EA did it, Monster did it with Dirt to Daytona. You started on a stock, just a basic stock on a dirt track, and went to trucks, and then to modified trucks, and then the Cup. So, yeah, they definitely need to bring that mode back.
Fresh MLG in the chat says, I don't think so. Processors on PC are better, as well as the graphics and FPS, unless consoles get to that sort of level of technicality. That's what he's saying. XLA says no. The esports. He says that you definitely see the esports on the consoles. That's the big thing. But as far as the racing side, PC wins, which I think we're all in agreement there.
Right.
Let's see.
That's not saying consoles are far off, because they're not.
Yeah,
I was going to say, graphic-wise, it's going to be there. Because really, once you're hitting 60 frames per second, how much better are you going to get? Like, how much further do you need to go from that point? It is going to be about processors and what you can do with all the little knickknacks in the game.
Right. It's just interesting to me, because you have that dynamic. You have that PC Master Race dynamic, the simulation that is respected everywhere, but then the consoles have the numbers. The consoles have the tournaments. They have these things going for it. It's so interesting that way, because you have one side that has the respect and the other side has the numbers, and at some point those two meet, and it'll be interesting to see on the main stage what is considered the most important. I think that's something that I'm interested in tracking as we go forward. But I think that's going to do it for tonight. We've got about an hour of chat in, and I think we've had a lot of fun in talking about sim racing and consoles as well. We didn't even get to the hardware, man, which is a whole nother discussion, I guess. But let's go ahead. We'll talk about the weekend outlook, things that are coming up tonight. In 30 minutes, we will have the Precision Racing League NASCAR League at Talladega. 9 o'clock, 30 minutes. Stay tuned. You are absolutely going to want to watch this, because it is Talladega. Anything can happen. It's going to be so exciting. Probably a lot of crashes, and probably plenty of people who are going to be plenty of people are going to be mad at each other.
Maybe a surprise driver in victory lane.
It very well could be.
You can also see a surprise driver not make the main.
But yeah, it's going to be exciting. So you want to stick around here in another 30 minutes. We're going to get this thing going. Also, this weekend, the ESL Go 4 tournament is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and I believe we are actually racing at Nürburgring. which is always a quality track. So that'll be fun. You'll probably see me streaming Saturday, doing a little bit of practice, and then as long as nothing pops up, I will be doing the tournament Sunday. Probably get on about noon and get that going. Yeah, Nürburgring is a lot of fun. But that's
Aaron, put that one back in F1.
Bring it on, Bernie Ecclestone.
Give me the number.
I'm sure he's watching. Bernie, come on. Get this shit going, man. But that's going to be it, guys, for the very first consensus TwitchCast here. If you want to rewatch, or you will be able to see everything, all of the consensus TwitchCasts will be stored on my YouTube, which I will actually post a link to here in the chat. So definitely go over there, hit subscribe, and check all of the clips and podcasts out there. As well, you can follow me on Twitter for information on when we're going to do these shows, because we're going to try to do them with some regularity every time we get something to chat about. Probably going to have a discussion next week about Destiny the game, and kind of talk about its addictive nature and the game in general. It's a game that is near and dear to my heart, and also extremely frustrating for me as a guy who is borderline obsessive compulsive. So it creates problems for me to have a game to play like that. And all of my good Destiny friends will be there to talk about that. Probably. What's that?
I was going to say, I'll be happy to talk about Grindfest in space.
Oh man. The grinding games,
God.
They never stop. They never
Good
stop.
God, Destiny.
But we'll probably be talking about that Wednesday night, I think, is the idea. But you definitely want to follow on Twitter so you get all the information and updates on that, because the one thing I talked about, how this is going to be so much more fun than doing the regularly scheduled podcast, because I'm not going to take it as serious, and it's going to kind of be transitory as well. But that's going to be it for now for the show. And stick around here, because the Twitch stream will go on. We're going to go right into the PRL NASCAR race after a short break here. But for Aaron, K-Dog, War Dude, Hoodius, this is Game of Jobs, and that's the consensus for this week. We'll catch you next time.